Ever wonder why Germans seem physically incapable of being late, even to casual hangouts? Why their public transport runs like clockwork while everyone else's falls apart? Here's the uncomfortable truth. German efficiency might actually be anxiety dressed up as virtue. And honestly, once you see the pattern, you can't unsee how this obsession with perfection comes at a pretty steep human cost. Let's talk about German perfectionism. It's not just about being organized or punctual. It's a full-contact cultural sport where second place is first loser, and good enough doesn't exist in their vocabulary. Picture this. You invite a German friend to a casual backyard barbecue. They show up with a detailed timeline, backup plans for weather contingencies, and enough organizational charts to run a small country. While everyone else is just trying to grill some burgers without food poisoning, your German friend has already calculated optimal cooking temperatures and crowd flow patterns. Or here's a classic German vacation planning. They don't just book a trip, they create military-grade itineraries. Every museum visit is timed to the minute, restaurant reservations made months in advance, and backup activities prepared for 17 different weather scenarios. Spontaneity isn't just discouraged, it's treated like a character flaw. Even their small talk is perfectly structured. Ask a German "How are you?" and prepare for a comprehensive status report covering health, work progress, family updates, and current project timelines. They've turned casual conversation into performance reviews. But here's where it gets really interesting. This isn't natural behavior, it's trauma response disguised as cultural strength. Germany's history is basically a masterclass in what happens when things go catastrophically wrong. 2 world wars, economic collapse, political disasters. When your national memory includes that level of chaos, obsessive control starts looking like survival strategy. Think about it. German punctuality isn't about respecting time, it's about controlling uncertainty. When you can predict exactly when things will happen, you eliminate variables that might spiral into disaster. It's not efficiency, it's anxiety management with better marketing. This shows up everywhere in German culture. Their famous engineering precision? That's not just craftsmanship, that's if we build it perfectly, it can't possibly fail us mentality. Their detailed bureaucracy that drives everyone crazy? That's if we document everything, nothing can go wrong without warning, thinking. Even German humor follows this pattern. Their jokes are precisely constructed, delivered with perfect timing, and often require advanced degrees to fully appreciate. They've managed to make comedy systematic, which is either impressive or deeply concerning, depending on your perspective. But here's what's uncomfortable to admit. This perfectionism works. German engineering dominates global markets. Their economy is incredibly stable. Their infrastructure makes other countries look like they're held together with duct tape and wishful thinking. When the rest of Europe was falling apart during recent crises, Germany stayed solid. So maybe we're being too harsh. Maybe what looks like obsessive control is actually responsible stewardship. Maybe what feels like emotional suppression is just mature self-regulation. But let's be real about the costs. Ever try to have a relaxed conversation with a German about feelings? It's like watching someone try to debug human emotions using engineering principles. They want to fix problems, not just acknowledge them. They need action plans, not just empathy. German parents plan their children's lives with the same precision they use for industrial projects. Kids get scheduled for optimal development activities, educational pathways mapped out years in advance, and backup careers identified before they can even spell spontaneity. It's thorough, but is it healthy? Then there's the social pressure. In German culture, making mistakes isn't just unfortunate, it's almost morally questionable. Being unprepared is seen as disrespectful to everyone around you. This creates incredibly high-functioning individuals who are also incredibly stressed individuals. Watch Germans in international settings. They're the ones with backup plans for their backup plans, detailed notes about everyone they meet, and visible frustration when things don't go according to schedule. They're not trying to be difficult. They're trying to prevent chaos using the only methods they trust. But here's where the plot thickens. This perfectionism might actually be making them less perfect. When you're so focused on avoiding mistakes, you sometimes miss opportunities for organic solutions. When everything must be planned, you can't adapt quickly to unexpected changes. I've seen German teams struggle in brainstorming sessions because they want to research every idea before proposing it. While other cultures are throwing out wild suggestions and building on each other's energy, Germans are still in the preparation phase, making sure their contributions are fully formed and defensible. This creates some fascinating cultural collisions. Germans working with Americans often get frustrated by American figure-it-out-as-we-go approaches. Americans find German plan everything in advance, methods stifling. Both sides think the other is doing it wrong, but they're just managing uncertainty differently. The really interesting part is how this affects German relationships. Dating a German often means being introduced to their life optimization systems. They don't just like you, they want to integrate you efficiently into their existing frameworks. Romance becomes project management, which sounds terrible but sometimes works surprisingly well. German friendships are similar. They're incredibly loyal and reliable, but they also come with expectations. If you're friends with a German, they expect you to show up when you say you will, follow through on commitments, and generally operate at their level of intentionality. It's friendship with performance standards. But maybe that's not entirely bad. In a world where people constantly flake on plans and treat commitments as suggestions, German reliability is actually refreshing. When a German says they'll do something, it gets done. When they make plans, those plans happen. The question becomes, is German perfectionism a bug or a feature? Is it emotional suppression or emotional efficiency? Are they missing out on spontaneous joy, or are they creating sustainable systems for long-term happiness? Here's what's really fascinating. Germans often don't realize how their perfectionism affects others. They genuinely think they're being helpful when they point out inefficiencies in other people's systems. They believe they're showing care when they create detailed plans for group activities. The intention is positive, but the execution can feel controlling. This creates some awkward moments in international contexts. Germans suggesting improvements to local customs wherever they travel. Germans explaining why other countries' approaches to problems are suboptimal. It's not malicious, but it's definitely presumptuous. Yet somehow people often end up grateful for German intervention. Their systematic approaches frequently solve problems that everyone else was just complaining about. Their attention to detail catches issues before they become disasters. Their perfectionism might be annoying, but it's also genuinely useful. So what's the verdict? Is German perfectionism admirable discipline or unhealthy obsession? Maybe it's both. Maybe that's what makes it so compelling to analyze. The truth is, German perfectionism has shaped modern industrial civilization in ways we're still discovering. Their systematic approaches to manufacturing, engineering, and organization have become global standards. Whether you find this inspiring or terrifying probably depends on your own relationship with control and uncertainty. But here's what I find most interesting. German perfectionism isn't really about being perfect. It's about creating systems so reliable that perfection becomes unnecessary. It's about building processes so robust that human error becomes manageable. In a weird way, their perfectionism is actually about accepting human imperfection and designing around it. That's either genius or elaborate self-deception, and I'm honestly not sure which. Here's my controversial take. German perfectionism is simultaneously their greatest cultural achievement and their most limiting cultural constraint. It's created incredible innovations and insufferable micromanagement. It's built reliable systems and rigid thinking patterns. It's a solution and a problem wrapped in the same cultural package. The real question isn't whether Germans are too perfectionist, but what the rest of us can learn from both their successes and their limitations. When does systematic thinking become valuable, and when does it become paralyzing? Maybe the answer is that perfectionism, like everything else, needs balance. German-style systematic thinking works great for complex problems that benefit from careful planning, but it struggles with situations that require improvisation and emotional flexibility. Or maybe I'm overcomplicating this, and German perfectionism is just what happens when you combine historical trauma with cultural values around responsibility and reliability. Either way, it's definitely not boring to observe. So here's what I want to know. Have you experienced German perfectionism firsthand? Did it make your life better or drive you absolutely crazy? Have you seen it create amazing results or unnecessary stress? And here's the bigger question. In your culture, what does healthy standards look like? Is it flexible adaptation, systematic planning, or something else entirely? Are there lessons we can take from German perfectionism without importing all its rigidity? Share your German efficiency stories in the comments. I'm genuinely curious about how this plays out in different contexts. And if you think I'm completely wrong about German motivations, even better. Let's have that conversation. If you enjoyed this cultural deep dive, smash that like button, subscribe for more mind-bending cultural insights, and drop your thoughts in the comments. Which culture should I decode next? See you in the next one.